So friends, to stand firm. To stand firm. It's quite a powerful and challenging call of Christ today. To stick with Christ no matter what comes at us, no matter what difficulty or trial we're going to face in lives. And friends, look, all of us faces these trials or these difficulties through one degree or another. You and I are living in a country which is built in many respects, the church in this country anyway, on the blood of martyrdom. Like so many other countries have countless numbers of men and women who willingly give up their lives for the sake of Christ and the gospel. And all of us, whether we like it or not, we're called to have that courage to face that, if we're ever called to do that one day. But I suppose to bring it back to more everyday aspects, on a weekly basis, or particularly, especially true when I'm in the confessional over there, the one-to-one chats I had with people, the amount of hurt and the amount of pain that so many who hold on dear to the faith that they express to me, the pain they face of mockery of people very close to them, family, loved ones, friends, work colleagues, mockery on account of their faith. The difficulty so many face of having, even not just a vocal aspect of the Catholic faith, but having the guts to say, well, I don't necessarily agree with that. Hold on there, you're wrong there. That's not the truth of that. They're afraid to even say those things in workplaces because they'll face, like I said before, social exclusion, even from family. And it's very hard to ignore. And there's something I've noticed in the past year and a half or so, whether it's a byproduct of being locked down or what, I don't know. And I saw it particularly the last couple of days again, a rise in a mockery, and what I call a personalized mockery of the faith. And I've seen it on a number of occasions, and particularly at funerals especially. When I meet families for funerals, for their funeral of the loved one a couple of days beforehand, just to go through readings, etc., I've noticed that if there's a family member amongst that group who has faith, who says, I light a candle for them, I pray, I say this prayer, I do my prayers, rosary, all that. The amount of times I've noticed increasing of the other family members around them literally laugh out loud into their faces. It's quite hard to take and hard to ignore. Even just a lady the other day who put so much of her time and energy into serving us as a faith community in one of our communities here, she had her face laughed at just the other day because she was quite vocal in her faith, and a very simple thing. And all I can say to those who face those kind of personalized mockery of people they love and know very well is to say, your reward, it will be great in heaven. As Jesus himself said, blessed are those who are persecuted on account of my name. Your reward will be great in heaven. And then we're facing another trial at the moment, which I noticed, which is quite a struggle to say the least, is that those who are called to serve as leaders in our church, they're starting to speak in very vague and confusing terms. Words that might be quite popular sound bites at the moment, but they can be easily understood as meaning as well, if you stick with Christ, it doesn't matter, really. But once you're a good person, that's what they seem to be saying. Just the other day, I was absolutely gobsmacked when I read that a senior bishop in Portugal, who was actually one of the head of the World Youth Days, who will soon be a cardinal by Pope Francis, he said the following, and I quote, "We don't want to convert young people to Christ or the Catholic Church or anything like that." That's extraordinary. And he went on to talk about inclusivity and diversity and all that stuff, as usual stuff nowadays. That's extraordinary. How disheartening for such a comment to come from the mouth of one of the apostles of Christ's church today. Such spiritually bland words, folks, they have to be challenged in some shape or form. Those who should be standing tall and encouraging us to run closer and closer to Christ, instead they're speaking as if inclusivity and diversity are far more important than Jesus. Hold on here, we're missing a beat here. For me, it's a sure sign of the spirit of the world having entered here in the heart. And it's like we're almost afraid to preach the unnerving truth that Christ is actually alive. That he's the way, the truth, and the life. And it seems that by losing our boldness of being able to say, yeah, Christ is alive, and I'm not afraid to say it to who wants to hear it, or who might want to hear it, still say it. By losing our uniqueness that Christ is actually alive, we're losing souls. We're failing to evangelize, which is the command of Christ. And we do this in our own ways at home or as a priest or whatever it may be. Friends, I put it to you that I would say this is one of the greatest trials we're facing at the moment. We're going through both as a culture but now in the church. that truth and concrete reality mean absolutely nothing anymore. It's up to your own feelings, your own interpretation. Go with it. I mean, that doesn't end very well at the end of the day. The revelation of Christ, that he's just as good as any other religious founder, that is completely contrary to the gospel and to what Christ speaks about, let alone the role of the Holy Spirit in our lives, which is to convert and bring us closer to God. My point is, everybody, that even when our shepherds favor modern psychological words or language of the spirit of the world, and that shakes your faith, don't be afraid. And those who face a mockery of their own family and friends because they love the Lord, don't be afraid. I mean, as Peter himself once wrote, he said, "It is with great joy, even though you may face for a short while, being plagued by all sorts of trials, so that when the time comes for Christ to call you home, your faith, it will have been tested and proved like gold. You will have praise and you will have glory, and that's the salvation of your souls." Friends, always remember to love those who cause difficulties and trials in your lives. That's how you will win your eternal reward. And always, always be firm in the faith of Jesus. Stick with him.